I'm going to share some tips and tricks to bring that warm rustic charm to your Christmas this year, and it's easier than you think. Welcome to the Chic Show. Today's playlist is Rustic Wednesday. It's hosted by Shabby Meets Bling and Repurposed My Way. Their channels and the playlist are in the description box below. I thrifted this magazine holder. I think it was handmade, and I just got it for a couple of dollars. So I'm going to remove the embellishments that are on front, and then I'm also going to be using this decoupage paper that I got at Sonnet's Maker's Box. It is a Roy Cycle paper, and this particular one has 4 sections, and I'm going to be using this one right here that says Merry Christmas. So I cut it to fit, and because of the slats in the magazine holder, I was very careful about where I placed my Merry Christmas so that you could tell what it says, because I am going to have to cut away the excess in the middle of those slats. So I'm slathering on some liquid patina by DIY, and I'm going to place that decoupage paper down, and then I'm just going to continue applying that on down the front of this magazine rack. Spritzing the paper with water also makes it a little bit easier to work with. So once I get that placed down, I'm going to go over the top with more liquid patina and let it dry completely. Once it is dry, I'm going to go around the edges with my little finger sander, and I'm going to remove that excess paper. The finger sander does help you get a nice clean line. Now I'm going to go along each slat with my utility knife and cut away the excess paper. You do want to do this pretty slowly so that you don't accidentally tear the paper. And this is how it looks when it's finished, and I love the rustic look of this piece. It's perfect to put your holiday greens in, or Christmas cards, or even Christmas books. I'm going to be making some rustic candy canes, and I'm using some of these rollers, foam rollers from Dollar Tree. I did hook 2 together, so I moved the plastic end off of 2 of them, and I hooked them together. Now I'm going to be using this jute twine, and I tied a knot in the bottom of it just so the hot glue had something a little more to grip onto. And I'm going to be doing a little spiral so that I can fit this onto the end of the roller, and I'm trying to be careful here so that I don't burn my fingers. So I'm just going to swirl that around and around, adding a little more hot glue here and there until I get enough to cover the bottom of the roller. Now I'm going to secure that little spiral onto the bottom of the roller, and then just continue wrapping that around until we get the entire rollers covered. Once I get to the end, I'm doing the same thing, just making a spiral on the end, securing it with hot glue, and then tucking that end in. And then it's ready to bend. And you may have to move your twine around just a little bit if you see any spaces. Now for this one, this is some of this fabric from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to be rolling that up just enough to cover the roller. But I'm going to coffee stain this fabric because I don't want it this white. So I just soaked it in a little bit of coffee and water and then set it aside to dry. Fast forward to the next day, and I'm going to hot glue this fabric onto the rollers. For the ends, I'm just going to tuck in the fabric and secure them with more hot glue. Now we can shape our candy cane, and this candy cane is complete. I thrifted this little metal bell, but I wanted to make it a little more aged and rustic. So I'm painting on some of DIY's liquid patina for metal. And I'm going to put a coat on, let it dry, and then I'm going to come back and paint on another coat. While this coat is wet, I'm going to use the liquid patina spray and spray it on and then let it sit, and it will actually age the metal and make it rust. To age the handle, I'm painting on some of Mod Podge Crackle Medium, and I'm going to paint that on there, and then I'm going to also paint over it with DIY paint in Marquee. You do want the Mod Podge Crackle Medium to dry before you apply the top coat of paint. Now I'm going to try and accelerate some of that cracking with my heat gun. To distress it just a little further, I'm using the wet distress method, so I'm just using a wet wipe and going back and just wiping away some of that DIY paint. Once I get it to my liking, I go ahead and seal it with some DIY liquid patina because DIY paint does need to be sealed. And here's a look at the final project. I hope you've enjoyed today's playlist. Be sure and check out the host and the playlist in the description box below. Here's another video I think you might like. Thanks so much for watching. Remember to share the chic. Bye now.